discipline as a path to freedom. I know, I hated it too. I hated it when I first started hearing that and embodying that and practicing that. It was like, what? This makes zero sense to me, especially around feminine reclamation work. Like, what? I'm actually trying to break out of this weird, rigid, masculine, disciplined thing into more freedom, right? Freedom of expression, freedom of movement, freedom of energy. Like, what are you talking about with this discipline thing? This conversation, I go into a few aspects, right? There's probably 55 more that I could dive into. These are just the couple that came out in the time that we have together. So just know there's more. This is maybe part one. If you listen to the podcast and you feel like I could go for a little more of this aspect, like I could go for a little more of the discipline, freedom in sexuality piece that you talk about, Sabrina, or I could go for a little more of the, how does discipline bring freedom from wounds? How does discipline bring spiritual freedom? How does discipline bring feminine embodiment freedom? How does discipline bring freedom? So just, I would love to hear if there are things you'd like to dive into more, or if you have your own ways where this is how discipline supports me. There's a lot of wisdom in our community. And so I know that these few aspects that I go into in the limited time that we have do not cover it all. And I know that you might be sitting with some wisdom. And if you feel to share it, please do. I love like collaborating on things. I love co-creating things. I love when we can create lists of resources. And so if you have something around discipline, creating freedom in your life, share it. Like, share it with us, even if it's an example, even if it's a book or a resource or of this is so good around discipline and freedom. We would love to hear it in the comments below. All right, stick around to the very end. I do an embodiment practice the last minute of the episode. So literally after I do my yap, 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 you can just like to plug your ears while I'm yapping at the end. But you know, like it's the good ending yapping, but then we do an embodiment practice and I don't want you to miss that, right? It's a discipline leading to freedom in our bodies. And I want you to get that whole practice. Okay. So much love. Enjoy the episode. All right. So let's go into kind of this first exploration, and this is simple. So this is really simple. This is tiny little simple to get us into this. Imagine you're going for liberation from a deep childhood trauma, something that just keeps messing up your ability to make money, something that keeps messing up your ability to come into deep relationship, deep connection, something that's messing up your ability to really show up, to really be seen, to show up in the world. And so you are working toward liberation, freedom. This is freedom, right? This is like to be free of a childhood wound, to be free of an old family pattern, to be free of an old karmic imprint. This is freedom. Like, if this isn't freedom, I don't know what freedom is. This to me is wild freedom. In order to come to a place of freedom, that kind of freedom, which is like the freedom that the spiritual masters talk about, this freedom that is beyond this like teenager freedom, you know, this immature teenager freedom where, oh my God, I have my car and I can drive. Like, this is soul freedom. And it's also freedom from our shadows, freedom from our unconscious, freedom from our past, freedom from all of the baggage, freedom from our baggage that we're carrying around, freedom from the heavy weight that maybe we feel we're carrying from our ancestors or our family or our community or our country or our whatever it is. Freedom from these things. In my experience, on my own path, and also witnessing thousands of others on this path of moving toward liberation, like the liberation, toward freedom, is it fucking takes discipline. right? I have to be disciplined enough to show up, get on the mat every day so that I can be free from my wounds. It takes discipline to hold myself to the fire to get out of the jail cell that I built around myself, or that my society built around me, or that my family, we can put it outside of ourselves if we want, doesn't matter. It takes discipline for me to show up at a rewilding retreat that's on sacred sexuality, because I know that that's going to hold the peace to heal the old sexual trauma that I'm carrying in my system. That takes discipline, right? Discipline as the path to freedom. This is an obvious one. It's an obvious one, but it's a great starting point. So just this moment of reflecting on, I know that there were times when I was not disciplined to get to the freedom that I wanted. Short little tiny example just to bring it home. It took me discipline to get to getting a visa in Australia when I was living in Australia, to working toward permanent residency. Like, it's years and it's a lot of discipline. It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of proof of this and making enough money and giving enough money in taxes to Australian government and all of these things. It takes a lot of discipline. And I get to the last stage of I'm almost free. Like, I'm free. I will have dual citizenship. To me, that's fucking freedom, right? I can live in America or I can live in Australia. I have dual citizenship. There's a level of intense freedom there for me. For me, that is just intense freedom. And I'm getting to the last stages. I go on some wild retreat in the outback. I am blown wide open. And the immigration officer calls me on my way home. I'm driving back out of the outback, out of the desert, right? I'm totally blown up and I've had these amazing spiritual experiences. And she's like, so we're gonna have to go over this, like, I don't know what it was called, like some sort of a test, like career test to prove that I was actually teaching public speaking skills at the time. And so we're gonna have to go over this, assessment thing. And I was like, you know what? This is what I said. You know what? I think I'm just gonna move to America. I don't want to go through all that. I legitimately do not have my permanent residency because of that. It's like one more step on this years and years and years of discipline, reporting, tracking, all of this stuff. And I just like, nah. So I know, silly story, ridiculous story. I think sometimes those stories help us to like bring it home, and it doesn't have to be so out there or all spiritually going for enlightenment must be disciplined, but feeling into things that are really freeing for us, things that are really like, the thing about it that I've come to realize over fighting the system for many years and trying to live maybe as like a hermit on the hill, not interconnected to the all of everything in my own little delusional landscape, is that I am in this world. I am here. I am here to dance in it, to play in it, to create in it. Right? Yes, I'm a soul. Yes, I'm way more than just this human experience. Yes, all of those things. But part of what lights me up, right? Part of what's soulful living is really owning that we are dancing. I think that there's this delusion sometimes in this new agey thinking that like somehow we're living this reality of like, oh, I'm not actually like subscribed to the financial system. Do you want to buy groceries? Like, because I'm not really sure that the barter system exists anywhere around me. Like, I haven't bartered for groceries ever in my life. And so there's this invitation in this moment, just this invitation to go, why don't I stop pretending that I'm not a part of the financial system, that I'm not a part of global warming, that I'm not a part of the political parties that are dancing at death's doorstep in my country, that I'm not a part of the collective Kool-Aid. Can we just stop pretending that? So I know I'm getting off track, but I'm kind of on this kick of bringing things into the physical daily life, bringing spiritual into the mundane, right? Bringing these high spiritual truths into tangible. And so when we start to feel into discipline as the path to freedom, like think about your own life and what is it that brings you freedom? Like, what is it? Because freedom is going to get louder and louder and louder and louder for us. It is. The astrology that's come, we're walking into the age of Aquarius, where all of this energy, Aquarian energy, Saturn, Uranus square. I mean, I've been talking about this in astrology. Every astrologer is talking about this, and we're feeling it. We're feeling more and more and more and more and more and more toward freedom. Let's define it. What is freedom for you? For me, freedom is having multiple. One aspect of freedom is having, multiple citizenship in multiple countries is a level of freedom for me. Freedom from my absorbed family conditioning is a level of freedom. Freedom from, if you've heard some of my videos in the past, I absorbed a lot of sexual wounding just from being in the womb and from the environment that I grew up in. Don't necessarily have the firsthand experiences of real deep sexual trauma, but it resided in my body. It resided in my energetic center. It resided in my yoni and in my womb in very tangible physical ways. To have freedom from that took discipline. It took discipline. And it took showing up. And now I enjoy this level of freedom around many of these karmic imprints that I worked through, many of these ancestral absorbed patterns, family patterns, many of this, and even from this lifetime, I don't even have to get all, like deep layers and, beyond what science is even able to prove right now. But even from past experiences of this life, it's taken discipline. This was example one. I know, I'm so long-winded, but it takes me some time, right, to just get the juices going for us and the energetics of things. So bear with me. I think I'm beating myself up because I was like, this is going to be 25 minutes. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, we have 10 together. We have 10 minutes together. All right, let me go into step number 2. Let's go sexual. I think we need a good moving away from foundational, Sabrina, that's so obvious. Obviously, it takes discipline to get to these bigger freedoms that I'm craving. Yes. Okay. Let's talk about number 2. And I'll weave this in masculine and feminine. There's such a beauty between the discipline in the masculine and the freedom in the feminine. The discipline in the masculine, the freedom in the feminine. And it doesn't have to be man, woman. This is just raw energies. This is like Shiva Shakti. This is like consciousness holding all of life itself, right? Formless, holding form. And you might go wait a second, form should be the discipline. I don't care how it twists around and you move it around in your head. It's totally fine. But let's talk about it in this way. Here, I'll give you a tangible example. I was having a conversation with a lover. And I said to him, can you just put into words what it is that you do? Because you do things that are really magnificent. Could you just give me some words for it? And he gave me many words, many words, and is really beautiful. But this is the one that pertains here, is, Sabrina, I create containment which is another form of discipline. Containment. I'm disciplined. I'm contained. I'm disciplined. I'm staying right here. Can you feel how beautifully masculine that is? What a masculine gift that is. Whether someone else is giving that to us or we're giving that to ourselves. I am perfectly contained right here. Can you feel that's discipline? That takes discipline. That my focus isn't over here. I'm not flopping over here. I'm not all over the place. I am right here. This is my containment. This is my discipline, right? Now, here's the gift of the freedom. This is this level of freedom. Let's say this is the amount of energy, right? Like, and it's just, it's hard to explain this, but let's say there's X amount of energy that can pour through a person's body. We'll make it really tangible. X amount of energy, and of course this changes. It changes day to day, it changes hourly, it changes based on your practice and based on like how much work you've done, all of that stuff. But there's X amount of energy that can move through a person's body. Now let's just say it's like I'm flopping all over the place and I'm flailing all, and there's just energy moving. Now let's say someone comes in and they have this discipline, this focus to channel all of that energy, it's just raw energy, and it can be channeled anywhere. It can be channeled through my mouth, like I'm channeling a lot of energy through my talking. It could be channeled through talking, it could be channeled through thought, it could be channeled through whatever. But the discipline here, because I'm going to keep it to this story, the discipline here is I'm going to channel this into pleasure. I'm going to channel this into specifically sexual pleasure, right? So there's all of this energy moving, right? Which is, it's total freedom. It's total freedom in the energy. And then I bring in the discipline, right? I bring in the containment, I bring in the discipline. Suddenly, Sabrina's orgasms go from a level 4 to a level 554 because every bit of my energy was contained via discipline into this one channel. Can you feel that? The freedom in that is indescribable. At that point, I am free from thinking. I literally have no thoughts, no brain. I am free. I am so free. I'm free from thinking. I'm even free from controlling my body. Like I'm free from even like the parts where you're not consciously thinking, but you're like lifting an arm. I'm free from that. I'm free from directing anything. I'm free from thought. Free from thought, right? Free from everything. I legitimately free from my body. I'm free from thought. I'm free from everything. And the only reason I had that level of freedom was because of the discipline. Now, I don't need someone else to give me that discipline. Like I'm giving you this example because it's really fun to play with it. It's really fun to play with freedom and discipline, with masculine and feminine, with containment and just sheer amount of energy and directing it. But we don't have to have it in another. It can be our own. So let's kind of veer into this and go, this might be point 2B, I'm not sure. Maybe it's 3, whatever. And go, okay, I am very disciplined in my freedom practice. My discipline is that I will practice for 1 hour. Sorry, that's my driveway's being plowed. There's nothing I can do about it. We're gonna keep going. So if you hear that, that was why the dog, little sheaves ran out. I love my neighbor. I have the best neighbors up here on the mountain. I would never be able to plow this driveway. So anyways, that's my neighbor's discipline, giving me more freedom. The freedom to never have to think about plowing my driveway. His discipline allows for my freedom. I love it. Gosh, I love you, Dave. Thank you, Dave. So feeling into my own discipline for my own practice. My discipline is an hour, right? This is just I'm not going to give you all of my practices. I do many practices per day, but this is just the one that's like super solid, super set, super disciplined. 1 hour. That is my discipline. That is my discipline. The discipline is also in that hour. There is no phone. There is no interruption. All of those things are out. Can you feel the freedom that gives me? I give myself, in my discipline, I give myself the freedom to not have to expend any energy on anything outside of this practice. That is freedom. I am free from dog obligations. I am free from child obligations. I am free from answering the phone. I am free. If someone knocks on the door, don't care, not my problem. Don't care, I'm free. That's my discipline. And can you see the kind of space that you create for yourself in that? Can you see the holding that you create? For me, it's sacred. Like it's a sanctuary. It's my sanctuary. And in my sanctuary is freedom. It is freedom. It is big freedom. So my practice is a very undisciplined practice. But the only reason I get to have an undisciplined practice is because I have discipline surrounding it, right? So my practice, one day it can be totally silent. The next day I can be dancing naked out back, chanting. I don't even know what I'm chanting, right? The next day it could be, who knows? But that's where I have complete freedom to just follow. How does the energy want to move through my body? What most serves my body, what most serves my being, what most serves this moment, what is it that wants to happen in this moment, through me, to me, with me, in me, whatever it is, right? And there's total freedom in that, but I would never have that freedom without the discipline. I think that's 3. Let me feel if there's anything else. Oh my gosh, I might make it to 25. I'm going to do it. So let me share 2 things with you. 2 ways to work on this discipline freedom piece. If you're interested in working in that piece around the sexuality, that play between the masculine and the feminine, that play between the containment, the discipline, and the absolute freedom, right? That is a great thing to do with the Persephone Hades retreat. The 2 add-on modules around Hades is exactly what you're going to do in those modules. It's literally pushing you. So there's a little bit more of the discipline. It's the masculine's discipline and deep knowing and deep wisdom. And you're working with divine masculine energy, right? So you don't have to have all of the masculine wounding come up or anything like that. You just call in the divine masculine and you invite his wisdom to push you beyond where you think you can go, right? To push you beyond where you think you can go. I still don't know how that came through in an online workshop. I have no idea. I still just look at that and go, I have no clue how that was ever created or how we ever got there. But that is something worth checking out. It's only available until the 29th of this month. And then that retreat closes. So you'll find details on that below. But I also always want to share, hi little bear. I promised I would share a quote on every podcast. So here's the quote for today. This is, where is it? Morgan. It's Morgan Long. The Persephone and Hades retreat is juicy as fuck, y'all. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Thank you, Sabrina Rewilding, for all you do. Absolutely love and feeling this energy. So Morgan, thank you so much. Huge shout out. Thank you for just giving us some words around Persephone Hades retreat. Again, you get to play in that discipline freedom space. Also, huge gratitude to those of you who commented on the last video about doing this discipline freedom. I wouldn't do it if it weren't for you all. If you want to check out that video, that astrology is still going until the end of the month. I'll put a link up here, a link below, all of those different places to kind of go see what kind of current astrology we're all in. New moon video coming out, blah, blah, blah. Who gives a crap, Sabrina? Let me see if there's a practice that I can give you. I know that you can build many, many practices off of this. but let me feel really quickly. Okay, here's one. It's very embodied. Can you allow your outer being to be disciplined to stay still? So just try this with me. So the outer being of you is disciplined to stay totally still. So I'm not moving, right? I mean, I'm moving because I'm also just here with you, but I'll do it. So I'm not moving. Let me look at you though. Now this might get creepy because I'm just staring right at you, but I'm not moving. And then I let absolute freedom happen in my body. So within, and I can't help but smile and my eyes go different, I'm sure, but like, I'm holding structure, I'm holding discipline, I'm being disciplined in my practice, and then I just let it rip on the inside of me. And you just let like all of your aliveness come to life. You just let and you invite all of your energy to dance. Where does it want to dance to? What does it want to dance through? What does it want to move? How does it want to dance? Does it feel like water? Does it feel like fire? Does it feel like air? Does it feel like earth? What does it feel like? Does it feel like a volcano, an earthquake, a tsunami? If you're just gonna just letting it all dance, letting it dance, letting it dance, letting it dance, letting it dance. Okay, and now you can let go. You can totally let go, right? And you can just let go and just let it move, let it move, let it move, let it move, let it move. You can let go of holding the structure, holding the form. All right, this was beautiful. This was great. I love you all. Thank you for being the community that we are. All of your shout outs. If you're new, super welcome. Join our Facebook group. Lots of cool conversations. We give away a lot of free stuff. If you want to do a workshop, there's another cool workshop where you can work with more of the feminine archetypes. Just go to Rewilding for Women. Actually, I'll put a link below. It's our 6 Faces Masterclass. You get to do 90 minutes of feeling into different feminine aspects. Which of the 6 faces is calling to you? That's really the answer or the question that we ask in it. So it's cool. I like it. I still like it. A lot of things I'm very particular about. But this one gets my stamp of approval. All right. I love you all so much. I will see you when I see you, where I see you, and how I see you. Mwah.